All right, everybody, welcome back to an episode of next episode of Cosmically Powerful Blerd. I'm J-Wall.
I'm Kilowatt.
And if you remember, we left off talking about black mutants, that particular history. Still, I think this is of great importance when we talk about black characters going from 1947 to December of 1965, and then, of course, Fantastic Four number 52, the introduction of Black Panther. We brought up Misty, and so we're going to talk about Black Panther and the crew. Maybe not something that generally people have heard of.
Yeah, like may have heard of Black Panther, may have heard of certain members of the crew, like Misty Knight, or heard of Luke Cage, because those are actually some characters that have been around for a while. But as far as what the crew does, what the Black Panther and the crew, the issues in which they address, or what they're actually doing together, most people don't. I don't think so. I don't think most people have read.
Yeah, and even the setting. So I'd encourage everybody to go out there and check it out. Even the setting is Harlem. Starts with the murder of a civil rights or activist.
Yeah.
And then there's this investigation, and it turns out that the activist has ties to all of these characters, and it's interesting to set it up in Harlem, right? Yeah,
And even the way it's written, the way it's written is a lot different than most Marvel comic books are written. Especially, I will say this, when I opened it and I looked at it, as a black person, got it. Now, if I handed it to someone who is not more or less hip to kind of the current state of affairs, they're gonna be confused. What's happening? What's going on? Why is this happening? But I think that when I look at how Black Panther and the crew was written, it's written in the perspective of the characters, so therefore it's written in through a black lens, which might make it a hard read for our white counterparts.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was the highest selling spinoff of Black Panther, but again, writing it through that perspective, and how all these African American characters intersected at some point with this particular leader, and I think when you culturally, if you look at what a leader is, especially in the African American community in a place like, given the historic significance of African Americans in Harlem,
right.
It becomes a really, it may not be the best. It may not sell like Civil War or Secret Wars or Executioner's Song or Secret Wars 2 or all of these Secret Invasion.
One of these arcs that they're coming.
It may not sell that well, and it may not ever make it to Marvel Cinematic Universe, given it's mainly focused through a black lens in a historically black area such as Harlem. Like it may not be for certain audiences or anything like that. But if you want to take an off ramp and read something written a particular way for a specific type of audience,
I think it does that.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think it's a good read. It doesn't, because honestly, I see this happening. You can tell me if you agree. I see this happening in white. They have white spin on. We talked earlier about the Doom Patrol, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that's really, you're like, oh, this is a different kind of take.
Yeah.
And it would be for a specific kind of audience. It wouldn't necessarily be a Reed Richards or a Charles Xavier. It's a guy, like you said, it's a guy in a wheelchair.
There's a guy in a wheelchair.
But
and there's people surrounding him with extraordinary abilities.
yeah, but it becomes a little bit different. It's like an acquired taste, and so
I mean, like in comparison, like I think we were comparing like X-Men to Doom Patrol. Like you can see the similarities, but you see Doom Patrol trying to take in this more sci-fi arc, where you see X-Men taking more of this social political arc, where dealing with more civil rights issues, more systemic power issues, rather than dealing with the more societal outcasts, sure, but more in the sense of X-Files. You know, like more in the sense of that, where even when you look at like Black Panther and the Crew, and I draw reference to X-Men because there are mutants on this team, where you have Manifold and you have Ahura. You have mutants on this team because they're representative of that culture, that black culture, not just in the sense of African American, but also with strong ties to Africa. With Storm being, and at the point that the Black Panther and the Crew was developed, at this point she's dating Logan. They're not married; they are actually divorced, and they're still working together. So it does speak to that, and it has. To me, that gives off some Fantastic Four vibes, but like it's still a good read. It still speaks about kind of the inner workings and underpinnings of origins and how they intersect, and where all these black people meet in the middle.
Yeah, and again, tying that that this was centered around a leader, because those central figures in comic books become important.
Yes.
Especially in black culture. And then when we read a comic book that says such and such was murdered, and there was this, we instantly can historically go back to Martin Luther King Jr., a Medgar Evers,
yes,
a Malcolm like we've got all of this. We can draw from
reference from
and we didn't have superheroes. We didn't have a Black Panther and a Crew. We didn't have Black Panther to go out, or Misty or Manifold. We didn't have all of these characters to go out into the neighborhood and solve these type of issues, right? In some of those cases, we relied on the government or police department or something like that to provide us a semblance of justice.
See, and right there, like, so, if you saw in the earlier episodes we were talking about best superhero teams, I'm just going to reference X-Men for a second. X-Men was based off of, came out of the brainchild of Jewish writers, therefore it was kind of talking about Jewish exceptionalism, like that, how we, born with power, let's just say like that, born with power is innate. Now, when you look at Black Panther and the Crew, what you see, I think, is a lot of black exceptionalism in a sense of what they are addressing. They're addressing a systemic power issue. So what you have is those with those powers that they use to more or less address their community, to address their culture, and then they're in conflict with the power structure. And I think that's what the start of this being literally about the death of a political activist.
Yeah. And I think that's important. So again, if you've never read it, go read it again. It's one of those spin-offs, and like I said, if anybody's read Doom Patrol or recently watched Doom Patrol, I think it's still streaming on, I was going to say HBO, but I guess it's called,
what is it? Max?
Max, yeah. So Max, yeah, I keep, they went through that. Go watch it on Max, and you'll instantly see what you mean.
Similarities.
Yeah. And then you'll see how what we would consider a hero when we think about heroes, how Doom Patrol turned them into really these wild, offbeat characters, but it finds its audience. So if you're an African American and you're looking for something more grounded, more cultural, more and you more a little some of the plights and things that we went throughout, again, liken it to some of the things that our community went through, then it's a good read. And who doesn't like Black Panther anyway?
Yeah, who doesn't like Black Panther?
Yeah, you'd have to, you'd have to be out of your mind not to like.
Our character is riveting as Black Panther.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Chadwick, man. He was an awesome character. I'm looking forward to see what they do with
trying to keep that going, trying to actually build upon the character, and
I hope I hope they do. I hope we see more. There's more Black characters. Period. I'd love to see something with Bishop in it, like mainstream.
That would actually be good. It allows him to not play a side character. In the movie.
Yeah, I'd love to see something with. Well, I guess we'll see how this Captain America
goes.
Okay. It might be a flop, and then they're like, no more.
Let's see what happens.
We gave it a shot, and then there's the Black Superman rumors of coming out with that too.
And I'm very curious about that. I want to know what's going on. I want to see how they're going to do.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Aren't we? DC movies they're not great.
No.
I always wonder why they don't get. So if you watch the DC cartoons, they're great.
Awesome. In-depth storyline, wonderful. Put real people in there.
Yeah, I don't know what happens. It's like and I'm like, why don't you just hire those guys? I don't know what's going on.
Can we get the people who are doing the storyboard for the animation to just switch?
Right.
And see what happens.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that's all we got. Again, check out Black Panther and the Crew. It's a little bit older, but you can find, much like you can find everything else, online. If you've read the series or you have a comment, put it below. Again, I'm Jay Wall.
I'm Kilowatt.
We'll see you next time on Cosmically Powerful Blerd.
Take care.